or at
You're
least live
listening
as
to
Jake.
Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest. Jay Burress is with us, the president and CEO of Visit Anaheim. Welcome.
Good morning, Ron.
Get to do this all over again. Let me remind you, if you have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day. Now, I might go here. I might get myself in trouble, and being that we only have 7 listeners, I'm going to say this anyway, and one of them is never my wife. If you're old enough to remember that we only have 7 listeners, you've been in Southern California for a very, very long time. One of the biggest. Do you remember 7 listeners, Lindsay? No, okay, you're not. You weren't here, Jay. It was 7. A guy named Rick Dees was the man, and he used to have one of the top radio broadcasts in Southern California, and that was his line always, is he has 7 listeners and no budget. Right, okay, so we have 7 listeners and no budget. So we've kind of fought. Now, hopefully we have as many listeners as he did legitimately. But I digress. So I'm going to use this one anyway. Josh, you're married, so you better not say this. I'll say it because I'm 34 years into a life sentence here. National Be Heard Day. Now, I'm never heard because my wife tells me what I want to think and say and all that stuff. I do get about an hour a day to say what I want, although periodically I do get a text message from her that says, let your guest talk. So even then, I'm not supposed to be heard, but that's a different story. Hey, today's National Cereal Day. What's your favorite cereal? Now, okay, I'm gonna give this to you. Go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. StreamYard.com/Facebook. Give us the ability to see who you are. Put into the stream what your favorite cereal is. And our team apparently, I think I see one of them that I might like on. Well, that looks like I got Cocoa Puffs on there. That's okay. Lucky Charms. What's your favorite? Frosted Flakes. Did you notice a theme here? A little bit of sugar. Am I getting in trouble? Obviously, probably my size. Moving a little right along. National Flapjack Day. Okay, so if I had planned this out better, we would have done a little bit of a quiz here as to National Flapjack Day. What is a flapjack? And those of you that are watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our social channels, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you might be confused because when I saw this, I was confused. I'm easily confused. It says National Flapjack Day. In the United States and Canada, we think of flapjacks as pancakes, right? Same difference. Well, around the world, it's these healthy bars. I don't even know what to do with a healthy bar. I mean, obviously, that's not the world that I live in, but maybe we'll just move right along and go to National Crown of Roast Pork Day. I like that one. A lot of good stuff on there, but we better move on. Today we can get on to the markets. Maybe we don't want to go on to the markets. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 613 points. Ow! Yeah, that's painful. NASDAQ is down 286. S&P 500 down 88. Oil, who would have thought? So oil's at $117 a barrel. It's up $2.05 a barrel. And that's the good news, because early in the morning before the markets open, probably before you got up, oil was trading at $130 a barrel on the overseas markets. $130 a barrel. Now, what does that mean for us? Okay, now this hasn't translated all the way through yet, but our tremendous underwriter, Lori, she's paying $3.87 a gallon in Louisiana. Jody kind of runs things for us on the lending side, $4.13 a gallon. Josh, whoa, you took a big jump, Josh. Now you were hovering right there around $4, $4.59 in Nevada, $4.59 in Nevada. Do we want to talk about California? Now, this is old news. Remember, $5.34 a gallon.
Ow!
$5.34. Now, I think if you're like me, today I'd like to pay $5.34 a gallon, because I went and filled up yesterday, and I think I was paying $5.75, and that was at Costco, $5.75. Now, the oil-producing state of Hawaii, they're still at $4.70. Oh, no, they don't produce oil in Hawaii. But they get it from California, and it's cheaper than we pay. Figure that. Oh, yeah, that's taxes. Oh, well. $4.06 is the national average of a gallon of gasoline. I bet it's up at least a half a dollar by tomorrow. So we'll be watching that one. And, you know, for those of you that say that it has nothing to do with the president, think about this for a second. Let's use a little bit of logic here. So what did the president do on his first day in office? So he shuts down the Keystone Pipeline. That's not going to affect oil prices, right? But wait a second. Wasn't it about a week or so ago that he shut down the pipeline going from Russia to Germany as a penalty to Russia? Now, if that's penalizing Russia going from Russia to Germany, you don't think that shutting down or limiting the oil going through the United States is a penalty to the United States? Can somebody help me with that logic? Now, I have some people on the social channels that challenge me that, the president doesn't set oil prices. Well, the ignorance was pretty much magnified when they said that the gas station owner was gouging people. Have you ever known anybody that's owned a gas station? They don't really get to set much of their pricing. The owner, the oil company that they're associated with, says, okay, in Newport Beach, you can charge, well, today it's probably even more than this, but they'll say, for instance, you're allowed to charge between $6.70 and $6.90 a gallon. That's the difference of what they get to do. In Anaheim, they might say, okay, you can charge $5.70 to $5.80 or $5.90. They give them a range. It's a very, very small window of what they're allowed to charge. How do they control that? Well, if you don't do as you're told, you don't get the next truckload of gas. Really, really simple. So when you think about the local gas station, they're not making all that money that they're charging. It's now, you know who is excited about these prices going up? You're not going to like me telling you this, but I'm going to tell you exactly who's the biggest beneficiary of these increasing prices. Yeah, I'm going to tell you. You've got to wait for it. Here it comes. In California, the state of California is the biggest beneficiary. We're paying about 25% in tax. Now, if you've got a $4 a gallon gasoline and you pay 25% in tax, that's, if my math is correct, that's about $1. Now, if you're paying $6 a gallon for gasoline, now the state's getting about $1.50. I know the feds get a little bit of that, but the state gets the vast majority. Do you think there's an incentive for them to lower gas prices? Now, if they cared about you at all, what they'd be doing is they'd be saying, maybe with this rapid increase of gas prices, maybe we ought to have it, well, don't say the word, a tax holiday? Really?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, no, they're not going to ever say that. A tax holiday in California, they probably try and find a way to tax more. Yeah, tax more. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to get off the gas subject because it makes me ill. Probably does you too. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to learn about what's going on in the world of conventions. I grew up in that world. We're going to learn more about that today. Is it good for your community? I think it probably brings a little money in. We could use it. Why it's critical to price your house right. When do medical bills affect your credit? All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Dow Jones now down 593 points. NASDAQ is down 268 points. S&P 500 down 79. 10-year Treasury, the yield is going up. 174.8 right now. And mortgage-backed securities, they're dropping 22 basis points. That means the yield or the interest rate on the mortgage backs going up as well. What is driving all that? All that information is available on the super secret website, google.com. So what's driving it? That's why you look to me. Well, I told you earlier that oil hit $130 a barrel. That's a 13-year high. Can you do a little bit of math with me? 13 years ago, where were we? Well, oil got to about, I think, 146 in 2008. I hope we're not going back there again. Other commodity prices, natural gas in Europe. Well, guess where they're getting their natural gas from, Joe? Yeah, they're getting it from Russia. As a result, prices up 256% in 2 weeks. Think about that. Now, we don't have to deal with this as much in California, but heating oil going up 5 times from $200 a month to $1,000 a month. Additionally, 70% of the world's neon gas comes from Ukraine. Why would we even be talking about neon gas? Well, that's needed for semiconductors. And we know there's a shortage of semiconductors. That's the big issue right there. They need those for cars and other products that use chips. Something else that occurring in Russia and Canada is weaponizing finance. Think about that, freezing accounts. Canada, freezing accounts of people. Now, we can understand that in Russia, but, well, maybe Trudeau and Putin, I don't want to go there. The yield on the 10-year Treasury, that's the difference, or I should say the spread between the 10-year Treasury and the 2-year Treasury. That's a very, very reliable recession indicator. Only now about 24 basis point spread, about 1/4%. Anytime that goes to negative, recession. It's just the way it is. So we're watching all of that. And the February Consumer Price Index report is going to come out on Thursday. Do you think there's any inflation yet? I know the president said no. I know that Mrs. Pelosi, when she was rubbing her fingers, probably said no to that too. Jay Powell next week is going to tell us what he's going to do about it. Raising interest rates in a slowing economy. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. Let's talk about something more fun. Conventions. Jay Burress is with us. Visit Anaheim. Now, Anaheim's always been a fun place to visit. Now, we got it made here. We've got the Ducks, we've got the Angels, we've got Disney, and Convention Center that's been rebuilt and remodeled and beautiful.
Those are the big drivers. We have the largest convention center on the West Coast. A lot of people don't know that.
No.
And that's what we've been missing over the last 2 years, what we've been through. But tourism came back slowly, but it is back.
So is it back?
Tourism is back. I mean, it's very strong. The convention is what we've been missing. And this week, 2 years ago, this convention canceled. They were the first domino to fall. And then the rest followed for the next 2 years. This is full circle now. They've come back. This is the same convention that will be here starting this week. And it's great news for Anaheim.
So I used to do a lot of conventions. The question I would ask, just a question. Were they able to leave their stuff set up?
Yeah, for 2 years they left
it all set there, so they don't have to reset up the convention again.
It was a little expensive to move everything out again because they canceled it the day before it was starting. So all the booths were set up, all the pipe and drape was set up. Everybody lost a lot of money on that. And then we were stagnant for 2 years. So them returning is a huge deal for not just their industry, but for all industry sectors. And the convention, which touches hotels, touches restaurants, touches transportation, touches decorators, touches so many things.
So what is the convention that's coming back?
It is Natural Products Expo West. So it's all
What does
kind of
that
very
mean?
natural products, whether it's clothing, whether it's food, drink. It's a group that's based out of Boulder, Colorado. They come here annually. And then normally about 85,000 people who come into Anaheim and spread out throughout the entire county for economic impact purposes. But it is an amazing show. It's just brings a life within the community that is just hard to beat.
So is that something that the average Joe can go to, or is it something that's just an industry program?
It is a trade show.
Okay.
So it is industry people, buyers and sellers here to look at new products, new developments within the industry. This year it's going to be about 60,000 people, but it is a chance for people from around the world to come in and see what new natural products are out there, whether it's, like I said, clothes, it could be a food line, it could be a CBD product, it could be so many different things, but this is the showcase for it, for the world.
So you're going to actually, from my understanding, you're going to actually be showing them something totally brand new this time from the visitor's standpoint. They've got some new places to stay when they get here, don't they?
They do. We've had a little bit of hotel development. That's been one bright side during the pandemic, is we've had some new Four Diamond hotels that have been built. And that's a product that we did not have, a sector we did not have in Anaheim outside of the Disneyland Hotel and the Grand Californian. So we've added some new properties. 3 of the Four Diamond properties are installed and built and over delivering. They are fantastic. So you've got the Westin Resort right there next to the Convention Center in Disneyland. You've got the JW Marriott right next to the Garden Walk. And then you've got the Radisson Blu, which is right down the street. So it's very exciting, in addition to some other properties. But it is a new day when they come to visit for the first time in 2 years.
And from what I've seen, the Garden Walks, actually, it's not a ghost town anymore.
There's a little life in there. They've had some different special events in there, some music events, and kind of evolving, but there's new stuff popping up all over this destination.
So explain to me from a business standpoint, Jay, why is it so important for a city to have the vibrance of a convention community?
Well, a convention attendee, we usually pay higher prices in the hotels. So it's a higher rate, which means higher TOT collection for the city.
What is TOT?
Transient occupancy tax.
Okay.
When a person, a visitor, stays in the hotel, they pay a percent, which will go 15%, which goes straight to the general fund of the city that pays for our waste management. It pays for our libraries. It pays for our city parks. It pays for our
So that kind of
police and fire.
subsidizes what, being that I live in Anaheim, that subsidizes what I'd have to pay for.
Right. You pay less taxes because of these dollars coming in. So when these dollars aren't coming in, Anaheim's done a great job of keeping their taxes down as opposed to other cities, but that couldn't always be the case if we didn't have these additional dollars coming in.
So people from Colorado for this convention are helping to pay for our police and fire, and
so thank them and welcome them to our city.
So, but that's a big thing right there. Is we should be grateful for all these people coming in. I know there's a lot of people who go, "Oh, the tourists are here again," right? And that's a good thing, though.
Oh, that TOT is more than 55% of our overall general fund within the city. So you take that all away and we would be in trouble. So the tourism is back. But again, the conventioneers being here, they affect sectors differently. So they're going to go out to restaurants more frequently. They're going to be on expense accounts. They're going to pay a higher rate at hotels. They're going to go for entertainment in the evenings, where a visitor might just come and stay at Disney as long as they can to get their money's worth, and then maybe go to a restaurant after the fireworks. But that is so it's a different type of visitor. Our convention center stays operational, which means lots of jobs. Really, a group like this would be about 23,000 local jobs supported by just this convention alone.
23,000 jobs from the one convention.
Yes, it's about 45,000 room nights coming in, about 2.3 million coming in just in that transient occupancy tax, which is the local citizens do not pay. And overall, it's about 145 million economic impact to our destination. So it is big business. It is returning. And we had our pre-con yesterday, and it is just everybody's so excited to be back.
What does that mean, pre-con?
Pre-convention. So we get everybody together and say, here's who's going to handle this for you. Who's going to handle your setup. Here's who's going to handle your transportation. And we introduce everyone, and they've been working for years to get here. But it's a way to kind of kick off everything for the week. And we had the meeting yesterday, and everyone is so excited to see this back in action.
I think a lot of us are excited just to be seeing people again.
Oh, there'll be people throughout the resort district.
And some people seeing people without a mask even.
Yeah, some conventions will still require a mask. This one will. So right now in California, you are still larger groups are required to show either the vax card or a negative test, and then it's up to the group whether they require a mask or not. So, fair. Most of the meeting planners are understanding of that because it's similar in other places. Hopefully, we'll get to a point where that's not the case. But right now it is.
So we want to make sure people come here, have a great time, and go home safe.
Well, that's one of the biggest concerns for convention attendees now is their safety. They don't want to go somewhere and catch COVID or go somewhere and not feel safe and secure. And we've got protocols in place now that we didn't have before to make sure people feel safe and secure, whether it's cleanliness at the convention center. It was always clean, but I mean the special global biorisk certified cleanliness where we go through special protocols. So when an attendee knows that that destination has gone above and beyond to create that, they feel more safe and secure in attending the convention, attending the restaurants, attending the theme parks. And I think with our product we have here, Disneyland was the gold standard in that. Our convention center was the first on the West Coast to be GBAC certified, which is that global biorisk. So we've done really everything we can to make the attendees feel safe and secure, and I think they will.
So when you talk about one of the things that I just hit me when you said it. So this conference is what, a week long?
4 days long.
4 days, and then you have what, 3-4 days to set up and a couple days to tear down or something along those lines.
Right, exactly.
And you've got 23,000 jobs. So what happens to all those jobs when the conference leaves?
Well, they get ready for the next conference. So
that's your job, is to make sure it stays full.
Make sure it stays full, that I have groups moving in while the other one's moving out, so we can effectively utilize the space at the convention center, keep our hotels full, which keeps the coffers at the city general fund full, which also funds our efforts. So through the TID, which is a hotel funded assessment. So it does, the more we're effective and efficient at our jobs at Visit Anaheim, the more of a smooth transition we're going to have between each of these conventions. And starting this week, we've got a great schedule coming up really throughout the summer. So it's fantastic.
So when we come back, I want to chat with you a little bit because all of us are always looking at the concept of costs and taxes and things like that. And I know that you're not the tax planning commission, but you understand I think you said TID.
TID is an assessment.
Okay. And TOT. So when we come back, I want to talk about that. Does it help people come to the city? Does it hinder people from going to a city? We'll talk all about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We're going to also chat a little bit. We've got our real-time real estate segment, why it's critical to price your house right. And if we have time, man, we may not even get to it, Josh. We might put our when do medical bills affect your credit. We might push that back a little bit so we can talk more to Jay. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037 and DRE number 018694552. We're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomedigest.com, rsrhomedigest.com. Find out exactly what the county recorder knows about your property, what the market believes about your property. And you can also go to rsrhomescout.com and find out what's going on in the marketplace anywhere in the sound of my voice. And I know this is the World Wide Web, as well as our friends at AM 1490 ABC News and Talk. So got that right there, rsrhomescout.com. Why it's critical to price your house right. When you make a move, you want to sell your house for the highest possible price. That might be why many homeowners are eager to list in today's seller's market. After all, with record low inventory and high buyer demand, many homes are selling for more than asking price. Data from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, shows 46% of homes are selling above list price today. But even in a market like we have now, working with an agent to set the right asking price is critical, as pricing it too high or too low could have a negative impact on your sale. Here's why. The price you set for your house sends a message to potential buyers. Price it too high and you might raise questions about your home's condition or lead buyers to assume something is wrong with the property. Not to mention, you could leave money on the table, which decreases your future buying power if you undervalue your house. On the other hand, price it too high and you run the risk of deterring buyers. When that happens, you may have to do a price drop to try to reignite your interest in your house when it sits on the market for a while. But be aware that a price drop can be seen as a red flag for some buyers who will wonder why the price was reduced and what that means about your house. In other words, thinking of pricing your home as a target, your goal is to aim directly for the center, not too high, not too low, but right at the market. I say just a little bit below market. Get in a bidding war. It'll make you a lot more money over the long term. Pricing your house fairly based on market conditions increases the chance you'll have more buyers who are interested in purchasing it will actually see it. To get a look at the potential downsides of overpricing and underpricing your house and the perks that come with pricing at market, if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk channel, video channel, you're seeing a chart why pricing your house right matters. Underpriced decreases your future buying power, leaves money on the table by undervaluing your house. Buyers may assume something is wrong. Market value, better chance of a bidding war. That's what we like. More likely to get an offer at or above list price and likely to sell quickly. May need to overpriced, may need to drop the price. Red flags, sit on the market. You want to have your house set up as a museum? I don't think so. Lean on the professionals' expertise to price your house properly. And again, you can go to those sites that we have. Banks, credit unions, they use something very similar to rsrhomescout.com. rsrhomescout.com. There's an option on there for your house value. And it's going to show you 4 different values for your property from 4 different services, very similar to what a credit union has to do when they call it mark to market. That is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by the air-trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomedigest.com, rsrhomedigest.com, or rsrhomescout.com. Continue our conversation. Jay Burress, Visit Anaheim, is with us. And we've been talking about the financial side. Now, we know about the fun side of going to conventions. There's some fun ones that come out it's all just fun games.
It's a lot of fun that goes on. That's why people go to them.
Right. Now, some of them are just a lot of work, right?
Well,
some of them are it's a straight trade business, and
there's buyers and sellers.
And they're working, and it's long days. It seems like it's I know my wife at home, when I used to do trade shows, I used to do 30 a year.
Wow.
And I did that for a long time. And you get home from a trade show, and the last thing you want to do is go and be social, and you don't want to go out to eat or any of that stuff when you get home, because you're at a show and people think it's all good time. Right? You have morning meetings, you have a trade show during the day in many instances, evening meetings, sometimes they're social. But the idea there is it bringing a lot of business to the community. And that's the whole idea of it. And we mentioned before the break about TID, which I don't even know what that is, and TOT, which you told us is the transit tax that the cities charge. What is TID?
TID, first of all, TOT, transit occupancy tax, is on each hotel room that's occupied. There's a set percentage that the hotel will pass along to the guest. So the guest is paying that 15% on top of their room rate, which then goes into the general fund. So that was established years ago, and that was what used to fund all of our sales and marketing efforts to bring more people into the city, about 7 or 8 million. So back in 2010, Anaheim was one of the leaders in the state, and the state was the leader in the country of developing a new funding mechanism for the sales and marketing and the building of the destination. So there was a tourism improvement district, similar to a BID, business improvement district, that is a self-assessment of those that would be assessed, meaning the hotels and hotel owners. So they voted in 2010 to fund a 2% self-assessment per occupied room. So that 2% goes on top of the TOT, the 15% that the city gets. And now the city, from the general fund, no longer had to fund the efforts of Visit Anaheim. Now we were funded directly from the hotels through an assessment that's most are passed along to the guests. And then we went from about 8 million coming from the city to, in 2019, we had a $21 million budget coming in, which all goes back into sales and marketing and bringing more people into the city, or building out the destination, or bringing in sports groups, or bringing in things that provide additional dollars into the city. So it's very different. Neither one come from the local citizens unless you're staying in a hotel. And
well, that's a big point right there, Jay, because so many people look at it that are in the community, and they say, something, you're charging us tax dollars to go and fund events that are coming and to help offset Disney doing what Disney does, and it's all our tax dollars that are paying Disney and paying the convention center. Really, that's not the case.
No, that does. The general fund does fund the operation. Well, the operation, it's an enterprise operation, so money they receive from rental of the convention center pre-pandemic would fund their entire operation, and then the assessments charged to the visitors would fund the sales and marketing, such as ourselves, and the rest goes to fund city services. So it is a kind of a win-win for local communities, and that's what similar situation in most cities within California and throughout the country, at least with the occupancy tax. So they both serve a purpose, and visitors have accepted them, But you can reach a point where it's can have a negative return. And there have been cities in the past that have reached the 20% range and so forth, and over 20%, and really saw a decline, because if one city has it, you could stay at a suburban city and still get the same benefit and pay less money. So we haven't reached that point yet, but some cities have in the past and have had to reduce it.
Yeah, I kid about it. We talked about that during the break, that when I was doing some of my trade shows, we were back in New York, and New York got to a point that as the exhibitors, the trade show exhibitors, we still went, but we noticed a big drop off on our clientele. They stopped coming. So all we ended up getting was the locals who were coming, and the people from out of town didn't want to come anymore, which didn't help the city.
Right.
And they got it. Then their return, you can tax too much.
Yeah. It's a happy balance. And I know, so many feel about taxes. So this is something that does not affect the local citizens unless it's not there. And then it would.
Yeah. And that's a big issue. And I've said this for many years, that I think that one of the big challenges, and I'm a fan of Disney. My son works there. They don't do a near good enough job of publicizing how much they're giving back to the community, right? And you were telling us about during the break that even with Visit Anaheim, you have a local charity or a 501c3 that you work with through organizations.
Right. We funded and founded and started a Visit Anaheim Cares, which is a 501c3 all about giving back to the community. We've taken on projects, whether it's with the homeless challenges within the community and some of the needs there, as well as we've volunteered at food banks. We've done different things, and it's all about going back, and we're looking at additional funding models that can help that. But every dollar that goes in there goes in back into the community. So we work with the different nonprofits and local needs within the community. That was kind of put on hold during the pandemic.
Sure.
We're bringing it back, and we're excited because I think that's such an important part of the tourism and convention industry. Is it's not just about coming and buying a ticket to an amusement park or a trade show. It is about making that destination better when you leave it. You leave something behind, and that's a big trend.
That's something that's a great thing. I love the idea where business and community get together for something along those lines. As far as leaving something back, there's that there's when you're bringing in, I don't know how many people this brings in. You probably do. 60,000 people. Yeah. You said. So you add 60,000 people into that community. You're going to add some what's the right word? Some nuisance to the citizens. Right. I mean, there's going to be more traffic, and there's going to be more, but the offset of all these extra jobs, and then the other things that they're leaving behind to help the community, the balance there is great.
And it's not just an economic impact that they're leaving behind. The trend has been over the last decade to leave something behind as kind of a legacy. Whether we've had groups that came in, NAM is a perfect example. They started a day of service within the schools in Anaheim. So they wanted to bring back music education to the schools. So they would donate.
A great one.
They would donate cash as well as musical instruments to the schools, and would have a day of service where musicians would actually go in and teach these kids who may have never held a guitar before, teach them how to play these instruments. And it's really magical to watch it happen. And you've got other groups that leave behind security systems for schools. So we've got a group coming in next year who has, they saw the FRAN system, the Friends Free Rides Around the Neighborhood in the Packing House District. And they love that micro transit concept so much that they're going to buy 10 of them to use during their conventions. And then they're going to donate them to ATN so we can use them in the city in the future. That's free of charge for us, a donation back to the city that benefits the citizens. So things like that. We work with Visit Anaheim Cares to make sure those get out to the right people, but it's such an exciting part of our business.
But the question that I'll have for you when we come back, how does the average citizen that's not listening to Ron Siegel Radio right now know about that? So we're going to talk about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. More with Jay Burress, Visit Anaheim. When we get back, you can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Hey friends, do you dream of mortgage-free home ownership? Are you aware that even if you own your home free and clear, it could still be costing you thousands per year? The Siegel Lending Team can help you generate tax-free income, accumulate family wealth, and maintain ownership of your home. By simply emailing your most recent mortgage statement, you'll receive a no-obligation real estate plan. Learn more by calling 1-800-306-1990 or email me your recent mortgage statement to pear@ronsiegelradio.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Josh, I'm just going to do our tout for the Your Credit Matters, and then we'll push that story to tomorrow. Your Credit Matters brought to you by our friends at creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report? It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer, they've got the solution. How do I know your credit report's wrong? Because they're all wrong. I've been looking at credit reports for the better part of 3 decades now. Don't tell anybody. And I've yet to see one that's completely accurate. Never, ever, not one. I know I'm going to see one eventually. And I've seen, I don't know, thousands of them. 834 is the best score I've seen. 850 is perfect. And it still had errors on it. So why do I think that yours doesn't? It's got them. Your Credit Matters brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. Continue our conversation. Jay Burress is with us. Visit Anaheim. Now, if you've been listening to Ron Siegel Radio for any of the last 12 years that we've been doing the broadcast, I talked to a lot of folks from around the area, but I do focus quite a bit on Anaheim. Why? Well, first off, my car sputters at the county line. My car won't go into LA County. It won't do it. So, and I don't force it. It's not an issue I force. So I stay in Orange County. And what is the gold standard of Orange County? Maybe my opinion, but it's Anaheim. So, and Anaheim for years has done a lot of stuff for every other city around it. So that's why I talk a lot about Anaheim. But Jay, other than when people are dealing with or listening to Ron Siegel Radio, where you're sharing this right now, how does the community ever know of all these extra benefits that they get from a convention center that's as active as Anaheim has been historically? Right? I know the last 2 years are unique. We don't even talk about comparing economic numbers for the last 2 years. We go back to 2019, right? So how does the community ever know about all the money you get a occupancy tax that's derived because of what you're doing with the Visit Anaheim, and you're funded by monies that you're generating as opposed to coming from the budget? How do we know those things?
Well, that's something our industry as destination organizations, we have not done a good job of. And because of all of our efforts, we were trained need to be focused on outbound or the outer markets. Our job was to bring people in, and we never really considered that we needed to spread the word locally about all this good news. We're changing all that, and we're getting word out there about what can be done through Visit Anaheim Cares or through the Give Back or conventions. There's now voluntourism where people want to come in and actually volunteer for different efforts that give back to the community. So it's all about being a good steward of your destination. And we do have to wave that flag more, whether it's through shows like your own, through media, through whatever means necessary. But it's also being more engaged with the community and not just concerned with my meeting planner in Chicago, my meeting planner in DC, but within the community and being a part so people do know. At the end of the day, everything we do is to bring money back into the city that provides services for the citizens of the destination. So really we need to wave that flag more, because we may do it through sales, we may do it through marketing, we may do it through bringing sports events in, other different things. But at the end of the day, it's about making the local citizens, communities, and neighborhoods better. And that's kind of fun when you think of it that way.
So one of the things you just hit on, and I don't know if I understood it correctly. So if there's things going on at the convention center, is there an opportunity for volunteers to come over and help out at some of the things there?
There are from time to time, there are efforts, but it kind of started back in New Orleans after Katrina, where people were volunteering from around the world to come in to help with the rebuilding. That developed into a real niche of going into all communities, and there may be some effort, a cleanup project, it may be some planting trees project, it may be something, but people look for things like that to do. And so that become a part of what we have to be aware of, so that when people are looking for some type of give back or legacy project, we can provide them opportunities that are out there and work with all the nonprofits to say, hey, this group is really in need of this at this time. And they may have someone. We had a group out of China who came in. This is obviously pre-pandemic. The group of 7,000 people came, all Chinese nationals who came in for a convention. It happens to be the CEO had one particular charity that meant something to him, the Alzheimer's Society. And he donated over $300,000 in cash to that Alzheimer's Society of Orange County. So you never know what's going to strike a chord with these meeting planners, presidents, and CEOs of these organizations, to where they want to give back to make a difference in the world. And that's our job with Visit Anaheim Cares, is to match those needs and interests, but we have the needs and interests in our own community.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, Jay.
Uh-oh.
What are some of the more exciting conventions either you have on the horizon or that have come to Anaheim in the past that we would really find exciting?
Well, we're starting into a season where we've got some great ones that are open to the public. They're ticketed, but you've got annually we have D23 coming up, which is all about Disney.
Okay,
that's a great convention, and people that love their Disney and Disney characters love to attend that. We've also got, years ago, these special interest conventions were started kind of with Comic-Con down in San Diego.
Right.
Well, we have the sister show Wondercon, which is going to be here in April, and that is was about 85,000 people. We'll see this year, but it is all about special interest. Everybody in their costumes. It is so much fun. But we have other groups.
So how do you plan for something like that, Jay? I mean, especially right now, post-pandemic. So before the pandemic, you had 85,000 people, and you'd have to staff for 85,000 people. Right now, when there's such a big question mark is who's going to show up, and are people going to show up? Are people going to want to go out? How do you staff for something like that?
That's why it is a ticketed event. So we have some type of registration, knowing what the numbers might be in advance, in addition to some on-site sales. But there's a whole scientific method these meeting planners use to do that. But we have another one, Vidcon, which is all the YouTube users of the world that come in annually to Anaheim. And it's a show that's just started out very small. It's continued to grow and grow and grow. So anyone in the YouTube world is probably familiar with VidCon, and that's in Anaheim every year, and that's coming up this summer. We also have Star Wars Celebration coming up. So you got a little bit of Disney, you got a little bit of YouTube, you got a little bit of WonderCon. Now you got a little something with Star Wars, which I think with the new Star Wars attraction at the parks, that is exciting news for those that may the force be with them and come on in to Anaheim.
That's a lot of fun stuff.
It is. There's a convention for everything. There's an association for everything. And
so it keeps you in business. Keep going out to look for something new.
It is.
So years ago, and I don't even know where the stat came from, they used to talk about the idea that what do they call it? I still call it the pond. They had more conventions or events there than any other facility. Honda Center.
Yeah.
They had more things going on there than most any place. is there a limit as to, I mean, what kind of occupancy do you have for the convention centers as far as, I'm not for the full place, but is there still room for more events?
There is. It's probably a bad time to ask me that because we come off a rough period. But when we were clicking on all cylinders, a convention center, you've got your move-in time, your move-out time, you've got your holidays, you've got some weekends that can't fill. So if a convention center runs about 70 to 75% occupancy, that's full.
Okay.
Prior to the pandemic, we were running about that percentage. So we were clicking on, and that's with the new expansion that came in, which allowed us to do more conventions, many at the same time, which increased the occupancy. The hotels where they can run, they were running, 90% occupancy in their hotels, but they can turn those rooms for other things when the convention's moving out, moving in, or for tourism that could be coming in. And that number dropped during the pandemic to staggeringly in the single digits at some properties that were still open. So now we're back up, the week between Christmas and New Year, we're up in that 90% again, all with the leisure. And January dropped a little bit. We're building back, but what we've been missing is that convention and group business. And that's what's going to help to offset. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. Can't be only convention, can't be only tourism, can't be only sports, can't be only association, can't be only something. You got to mix and a variety, and that keeps a steady flow throughout good times and bad times.
So with the size with the expansion of the convention center, what's the size options that you have?
Well, we joined a very rarefied club called the Million Square Foot Club, and we're in the top 10 in the United States of size of convention center. So some conventions are so large that they can only go to a handful of places within the country. So that's what you want to get those mega shows first, and then you fill in with the smaller shows, and sometimes you have to have 2, 3, 4 going on at the same time to utilize your space. And that's addition to the self-contained convention that may all fit in the Hilton or may all fit at the New Westin or the Marriott or over at the Disneyland Hotel. So you've got the major citywides, then the next layer is the self-contained, and then you fill around that with the sports and the leisure tourism groups because they're much later bookers. The mega shows are going to book 10 years out. The others are going to book staggering throughout until you reach that. Sports maybe a year out, and that's your mega cheerleading shows and volleyball shows and things that people will travel around the country to bring your little boy or little girl to that show because you're not going to miss that. It may be a recession, but you're not missing that.
Yeah, my son was just telling me, and he works at Disney. He said they had the cheerleaders were all there this last week.
We had about 20,000 people in town for that event.
Wow,
so it was great business for our hotels and our community.
20,000 people for that. You don't think about something the scope of what happens on some of these events like that.
We've got another cheerleading event. It's going to be about 22,000 people coming up this month. And then we've got one with the religious education group with the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. It's going to be over 30,000 people.
See, even they don't want to be in Los Angeles. They're like me. I throw that out there. Just a little gesture.
That was Ron and not Jay.
Exactly. Sorry to put you on the spot. Like that, of course, it's me. That's I would say something like that. But so you're getting 20,000, 30,000 people, or 85,000 people. So if I had a group of 200 or 300, does that mean I'm out?
No, that means we've got many different hotels within
the community. So you just go to a different area.
House with their own meeting space, their own sleeping rooms, and that's what we call the self-contained shows. And that's a big business as well. And that's going to be sports is the first sector to come back, then be the self-contained, and then the mega citywides that we're starting this week.
Now, even on some of the smaller ones, is your organization still the point of contact for that, or do we call the hotel directly, or where would somebody call?
We produce leads for the hotels. We will find new business. We're judged, and part of our metric is finding new business. So once we get a group that goes into a hotel, they have a relationship, they can continue to book it if both parties are interested. We want to go out and find new business. So we have a goal of a certain percentage of new business we have to go find. We find the right hotel for them, involve the hotel, they do the actual booking. We're in a major citywide. We control the books of the convention center. So we would actually put that together, and nothing can happen until that happens. And then the hotels can start to book from there. So that's a big part of what we do, the self-contained business and hotels. And we've got staff in Chicago. We've got staff in Washington, D.C. We've got staff in Northern California who are salespeople out finding business every day, New York area. So we've got a sales team all over the country.
And it's still, regardless of what anybody says, it's still one of the greatest places to go and visit. right?
Absolutely.
Anaheim, Orange County. Where else can you get up in the morning and you can look out at the mountains and see the snow-capped mountains, and maybe even go and check out the beach and some of the best amusement parks in the world, and get some Ducks are having a little challenge this year, but hopefully if we get baseball back, we'll have a great baseball team. It's all right here. If you want more information about Visit Anaheim, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with Jay and his team, and you can get more information about maybe booking an event. Maybe you have an association or or something that you're really excited about or you're passionate about, and you want to bring together a bunch of people. Well, give us a call. We'll put you in touch with Jay Burress and his team at Visit Anaheim. And as always, I ask you, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.